or salmon into a robo coop or your food processor, okay? Pulse it. At this stage, you use an egg just to bind it. Now, this is the most important part because an egg, when you add salt to it, it will bring the protein from the fish out and that will thicken the mousse, okay? Have it here. Yeah. As I said last week, lads, I use salted butter and I use different types of salts for different jobs, curing, for gravel axe and that, but if we're using butter, it's all salted butter, okay? To do this, you've got to use chilled cream, okay, guys? And you gently put it in. What you want to get is really a thick cream. If you're whipping cream, you want to get it to that consistency, okay? With a spatula, just remove it from the sides. If you use whipping cream, what will happen is when you go to cook it, it'll split. The whipping cream, the fat content will just upset the protein with the fish. So use heavy cream. It's all good for you. Don't worry about it. Okay, you see the consistency I have it at the moment is kind of that way, okay? You see it? You can do one or two things, guys. On the recipe it says you can put the dill in on top of the crab or you can put the dill in beforehand. I prefer to put a small bit of dill in now and also to put it in when we put the crab in, okay? Because it's a case, it's giving it a total different sweetness and a flavour. Small bit more cream. Don't be afraid. You have to, lads, as I say, you have to taste. You have to taste everything. If you don't taste it, you know, it's not going to come out the right way. That needs salt. Lots of it. Dry dill. Yeah. If you use fresh dill in this, you'll end up turning the mousse green. That's good now, lads. So, into a piping bag. If you can, try and purchase a roll of disposable piping bags. Okay? They're brilliant. They're like a piping bag is actually a nylon piping bag. They're not good. They retain smell in them, and that. Cooking is a bit like a gamble, really. Okay, your piping bag. Put your piping nozzle in the end. Okay? Fold it over. Okay? Okay? Cup it in one hand. Spatula. Down into it. And lads, as I said last week, cooking really, unless I suppose you're in the profession full time, and even if you're in the profession full time, cooking should be fun, you know. I always think cooking reflects your mood. If you're in a bad humour, you know, you're not enthusiastic about doing dishes. If you're in a good humour, you can be very creative. So you don't have to stick to the recipes I'm giving you. You can, mess about with them and that. And that's the fantastic thing about food. You can really mess around with food. It's unforgiving, really. Or forgiving, I should say. But I think it's, you come up with a lot of dishes by mistakes, Okay? Put your piping bag back down. Get the air out of it. You don't want to get air into the mousse, guys. So that's good to go. Okay? I'm going to start with the pipe bag I have here. It's easier to start with a chilled one, okay? A Dariel mold. Diana has it described there to you. These are what we call Dariel molds, okay? Basically, olive oil or vegetable oil or any oil, bar engine oil. Line it with cling film or saran wrap. Make sure you get it down onto the sides, okay? To do this dish, you got to pipe it down and out. And you got to go around the outside. You're making a teacup, basically, out of it. Okay? So you're leaving a hollow in the middle. Yeah, yeah. That's why you don't want to air in it, guys, because it will just spit. So keep the piping bag taut at all times. If you feel that the mousse is running out too fast, relax your hand. If you feel that the mousse isn't going out fast enough, you haven't the squeeze tight enough. Yes, I would. Yeah, I would actually make the mousse maybe an hour or two beforehand. If we were just making 3 there, I have a small bit left. You have to retain that to put the lid in it, okay? But I'm going to use that for the lid, okay? So we get one more out of this. I have more cooked inside, guys, because okay. At this stage, we're going to start our mussels. Heat up your pan. Okay, crab meat. With the crab meat, we'll put the crab meat in 2 minutes. To start, the white wine sauce, the mussel sauce, which is your garnish. If you can, try to get fresh mussels. If you can't, there's very good frozen ones there. I've used them from time to time. But you need the juice out of the mussels to make the stock. It makes a fantastic white wine sauce. Give me a small bit of cider, please.
Is this the same white wine sauce that you used in Culinary Basics 1?
Yeah, exact same.
Okay.
Okay, so, thanks. To start, sweat off your onions, add in your mussels. I'm using cider, guys. We don't do wine here, obviously. Well, not for the present. And actually, the cider has a fantastic sweetening flavour towards mussels. I have it here. You can see what I've done. Sweat off the mussels, sweat off the onions, added in the mussels. cider. They'll open up. I'll put them through the strainer, reduce down the liquid. I'll use the liquid in this after I've put the crab in. So basically what we're doing with the crab, you can all see, can you see that? You've seen the hollow inside in the mousseline. So you're basically putting your crab in.
Now, when you're stuffing these, you don't want to press too far down in there. You want to
No,
get it in the
because
bottom, but you don't want to break that seal, right?
Well, if you press down too far, you're gonna go and break the lid of it. I suppose you'd call it really. And what's going to happen is it's just going to leak in and it's going to boil the mousseline. This will be cooked in what's called, we call it a bain-marie, or a well. Okay, you've got to cook them in an oven in a tray with water. You put paper in the end of the tray to stop it boiling. Because if this spoils, you'll end up with a souffle. Because there's a mousseline, there's egg gone into it, there's aeration. And the more aeration that goes into it, the lighter. But if it boils, it'll take all the lightness out of it and it'll end up just like a rubbery souffle. And if you're not sure when you're doing, like try this, you can try this recipe with chicken as well if you want to. Quenelle a bit. I showed you quenelles last week. Just get a spoon and pop it into water, boiling water, and take it out. And if it feels rubbery, it needs more cream. Okay. But don't be afraid to mess about. Okay, so just dab the crab down a small bit. Okay, going maybe halfway down. Okay, the mussels are open. Okay, guys, the way to do this: you want to start your sauce. Turn off the mussels that are on because they'll end up going leathery. Get on another pan and get it red hot. Okay. Strain your sauce into it and it'll reduce way faster. Put your mussels in here and let them cool. You can add them back into the sauce later, okay? I put everything on high. When it comes to seafood really should be served rare. Not mussels, they've opened. You've got mollusk, which are mussels. Crustaceous, which would be oysters, clams, mollusk is mussels, clams, oysters. Crustaceous would be lobster and that sort of stuff. Crab, anything with a claw. So if you just think of crust, claw, mollusk, mussel. So you've got mussels, clams, cockles, periwinkles, any of those sort of things. I'll get the pan, you'll hear it in a minute, I'll get the pan to really searing heat because you want to reduce down and condense the juice out of the mussels into a basic stock. You're putting maybe a pint of cream into 4 fluid ounces of mussel stock and you're intensifying it straight away. Now when you do this, you can make that earlier if you want to and you can put it in. I have mussel stock inside or white wine sauce inside. I could use it. We use the same white wine sauce all the time, but I want to show you how we do it. I'm going to put it in hot, but it's going straight into the steamer, okay? But if you're doing it yourselves, make your mussel sauce beforehand. Pick the mussels out of the shell when they're warm, not when they're cold, and refrigerate them when they do go cold, okay? It's vitally important that you know you're dealing with shellfish, and a lot of shellfish contain mercury. So you have to be super aware of that. Okay, guys. I'm going to leave them in the shell because I want to use the shell for garnish, okay? So that's basically what you have. Dave, do you want to show that? And that's the amount of liquid that's come out of that. See, guys? Out of, there's, I think, 48 mussels, you have very little liquid.
I was just saying that make sure that your mussels, make sure that if the mussel hasn't opened, just throw it away. Don't try and open it. It's not a good mussel. So.
It's reduced now. Well, they're inside the cold room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put them in like the fridge.
If you can get them into, when you get them, put them into a colander in a bowl, so that when they're dripping, that they're not lying in their own juices.
They don't need to come up to room temperature or anything else. That like you need. But when you start the sauce,
they got to go cold. You basically you want to keep them inside in a cold temperature, and you want to make sure that they're not warm, because as Dave says, if they're opened, discard them. They're dead. And any mollusk, whether it be scallops, clams, anything, if they're opened, they're gone. Okay, so I'm just ladling in a small dribble of white wine sauce, okay? As I said, I'd urge you to do this when it's cold. Set. You take that, thanks. Okay, with the remainder of the mousse, you put the lid on, okay? And white nozzles in that. Okay. With a small knife or a small palette knife, okay? Just come to the edges with the mousseline, and that seals it, okay? But you have to come to the edges. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, Dave, you want to show me? Set. Folding, yeah. Okay. Celsius. Just use my. Okay, guys. With the saran wrap, to stop it souffling. Okay? Wrap over, wrap over, wrap over. Okay? To cook it, okay, it's vitally important that you don't put it into a dry oven, okay? You got to put paper on the end of the tray. And this, as I said to you a while ago, stops it boiling. This will stop everything boiling inside an oven, paper will. So what you'd literally do is put your paper in, put your mousselines in, and when you put in one in, because ours is going into the steamer, put in your water, and bring it literally a third of the way up, okay? So that's what you're baking it inside. A third.
Your water needs to be hot.
Your water needs to be hot. Your paper needs to be on the end when it's dry, not when it's wet. If you put it in when it's wet, your paper will start floating, okay? Pardon? If you don't put the paper in, it's going to boil without a shadow of a doubt. If you put the paper in after the water, the paper's going to float and it's just going to start lifting your soufflés up, okay? With 10 minutes.